Welcome. I'm physician turned relationship and intimacy expert Alexandra Stockwell, and I'm really excited to share this mini course with you so you can begin taking the next steps to a juicy, connected relationship. The first step that's often missing, but absolutely necessary when creating the relationship of your dreams, is knowing what it is that you want. This step can be really challenging. While we may have relationships that we admire in our family or circle of acquaintances, or as we've seen in the lives of celebrities in books or movies, rarely do you see an example of the relationship you want. For example, you may admire the love your grandparents or parents had for one another, but their relationship style doesn't necessarily align with what you truly desire in your own life. I began my journey as a family physician. After practicing medicine for 7 years, helping families heal their bodies and their relationships, I turned my attention to studying the science and the art of emotional connection and sensual intimacy. In all honesty, I began down this path because I was looking to revive my own marriage. Most of the trainings I found were either for singles or for younger couples disinterested in marriage, and I knew that if I was looking for something to support me, that there must be others out there looking for the same thing. In this video, I'm going to briefly describe the lives of 3 amazing couples I've had the pleasure of working with, and tell you about the juicy, emotionally connected, and inspiring relationships they have created for themselves. I know how it feels when you feel like you will never have the relationship you dreamed of. You always thought it was possible, but haven't come close to experiencing it. I want to tell you about these couples so you can see what is possible when you commit to creating it. I'll start with Anastasia, who is 39, and Mark, who's 44. They've been married 8 years now and have a beautiful 3-year-old daughter. Both Anastasia and Mark have worked really hard to get where they are. He has his own accounting firm with 3 local offices, and she is a pediatrician and co-owner of a private practice with 2 other doctors. Despite all their years of school and even more long, hard-working hours to build up their businesses, they've never put their relationship on the back burner. They saw a lot of friends' romantic relationships suffer as they were focused on building careers and becoming young parents, and they decided early on not to fall victim to this trap. One way they do this is by making it a point to spend at least 15 minutes together every single morning before their workday begins and their daughter wakes up. They put their phones down, turn their attention away from their to-do lists, and focus on really connecting. This looks different day to day. Sometimes they might be talking about their dreams for their daughter. Another day they might be making love in the morning. But regardless of how they use the time, setting it aside as a sacred commitment means honoring their relationship as their highest priority before anything or anyone else starts clamoring for their attention. Some evenings they have a chance to connect again, and some evenings they don't. But twice a week, without fail, they spend quality time together. From taking a dancing class or going to dinner and a movie, to enjoying a very leisurely bath together, or simply talking about what's been going on at work, they consistently nourish their relationship and draw on their connection as a powerful source of both comfort and inspiration. Anastasia and Mark both bring their business savvy to their shared financial life. All their money is combined, and they manage their household finances much like they manage their finances in business. While they sometimes disagree about expenditures, they found a way to trust one another and take turns deciding whose preferences will take precedent. Mark and Anastasia have perfected their ability to drop their work and parenting concerns to really be with one another, and this has been great for their sex life. Mark loves designing erotic adventures for Anastasia, and she loves surrendering fully to them without having to think of anything but her own pleasure. At other times, Anastasia takes charge, inviting Mark's surrender and touching him with ever more nuance and creativity. Together, they've learned to have expansive, sensual experiences of communion, and now, sex is so far beyond what either of them ever knew was possible. They say they don't really have the language to describe it. Next, I want to tell you about Megan and Sam, both 52 years old, married for 24 years, and gloriously happy together. Sam is a Silicon Valley CEO who started his career as a research scientist, quickly moved into management, and has risen through the ranks with a work hard, play hard mentality and a fierce commitment both to his employees and to the bottom line. Megan is a well-known business coach and a total self-starter. An entrepreneur with lots of ambition, she's almost entirely self-taught, and she has a powerful determination to help her clients understand what's holding them back. While they are both incredibly ambitious and highly independent, earning them a reputation as the power couple, with friends who say they have it all figured out, they've learned to soften with one another and to show up with a vulnerability and rawness neither of them feels comfortable bringing to their professional lives. Their relationship is a safe space for them to share both their dreams and their doubts. And because of this, they're one another's greatest partner and ally. Megan and Sam both have a growth mindset and operate from abundance, so decisions about money and life priorities come fairly easily, whether it's around educating their kids or caring for their aging parents. And when one of them wants something different from the other, they make room for all of it. With practice, they've cultivated the skill of saying yes to whatever honest desires the other one brings to the table. And again, they've been astounded by the solutions they can discover when they agree to work together, making sure both their needs are fully met. Megan and Sam have cultivated a lot of passion and a lot of play in their lives. They've made their home an oasis, a respite from their professional worlds, where they relax into one another and prioritize physical affection. They make it a point to kiss passionately each evening when they get home from work, and say that the energy of being home together is what nourishes and refuels them. They take their sex life very seriously and have taken a few private classes and worked with me specifically to learn how to up the intensity and their pleasure. Given how full their lives are, they're often shamelessly scheduling their next rendezvous so that regardless of what big projects and potential mergers they're facing, their intimacy never lags. The third couple I want to introduce you to are Savannah and George. They have been married for 19 years. George is a brilliant 45-year-old engineer. Savannah is a petite, fiery 43-year-old attorney with a sparkle in her eye and a heartwarming laugh. She works 3 days a week and spends the rest of the time caring for her family. George is an innovator at work, and at home he's learned to defer to Savannah's ideas. He's quick to rally behind her inspirations and happy to collaborate on bringing them to life. She's expanded his emotional world by introducing him to yoga, personal growth, and new ways of traveling. He definitely does not always see the value of Savannah's ideas right away. However, he's learned that when he trusts her, there's usually a big payoff. Savannah's intuition has guided him and their family to places he never would have imagined, and for that he is grateful. While George is usually content to let Savannah run the show at home, he never takes her for granted. He is deeply committed to letting her know how much he values her and everything she brings to their life. He's consistently going out of his way to surprise and delight her. Whether he's getting tickets to her favorite band, planning a trip of some sort, or painting their backyard fence before she asks, he is always looking for new ways to make Savannah feel seen and cherished. George are true partners in both their sex and their financial lives. They each have money they manage independently, but the majority of their money goes into a joint account. When it comes to spending and investing, they make all big decisions together. Over the years, they've learned to balance George's higher risk approach with Savannah's tendency toward frugality. When it comes to lovemaking, their connection is both frequent and full of passion and nuance. Just like in their financial life, they've learned to appreciate one another's perspective and approach, finding ways to fulfill George's desire for lots of physical intimacy, with Savannah's desire to have slow, heartfelt, sensual touching with lots of eye gazing that leaves her glowing for days. Both in love and in money, being honest and vulnerable with one another has allowed them to create a relationship which really, really works for them. A relationship that grows and evolves with their interests and life circumstances. When I first met Anastasia and Mark, Megan and Sam, and Savannah and George, none of them had the relationships they do now. You may think that they chose the right person, got really lucky, or somehow had an innate knowledge about how to be in a relationship, but that isn't the case. All three couples made powerful commitments to invest in their relationships and to call in the support they need to cultivate the kind of connection they desire. In tomorrow's lesson, I'm going to share a lot more about one of these couples. I'll tell you where they were when I met them and what they did to strengthen their bond. In other words, I'm going to tell you how they went from where they were to where they are now, because if they could do it, so can you.